Welcome back to the Bronx Box Office. This is our holiday special. I'm Greg.
And I'm Nicole.
Today we're going to be talking about National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. This is another Christmas movie that's about family and specifically like just family conflict around the holidays, which is a constant in the Christmas season, especially, you know, people who have big families around the holidays know that it's not always a great experience. It can get things can get tense, but that's really where a lot of like the comedy in this movie comes from. Is just like the main character, Chevy Chase's character, trying so desperately to make this the perfect Christmas. He's trying so hard, and the harder he tries, the more he fails, and it just everything goes wrong. And it's funny, you know. It's very much a National Lampoon comedy in that like there's very like everything about it is like structured to be comedic, like the editing, the cuts, just like the whole premise in general. And there's also a lot of slapstick comedy, which is a common thing in Christmas movies and also National Lampoon movies. Specifically Clark, just all his failures, him falling off the roof, I don't think he gets electrocuted in this one, but in National Lampoon's Family Vacation he does. So he's always been a consistent like slapstick character. What do you think about this movie?
It is definitely a classic. I have a big family, so I can relate to this movie being chaotic and just having your family in one little house and just trying to manage everyone and everything going on, from putting the dinner together when Clark cuts the Christmas turkey, I think it is.
Oh my God.
And it and explodes, and it just like wilts and dies because they overcooked it.
Before we begin, since this is Aunt Bethany's 80th Christmas, I think she should lead us in the saying of grace.
Oh, great.
What, dear? Grace! Grace! She passed away 30 years ago.
They want you to say grace. The blessing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
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 Catherine, this turkey tastes half as good as it looks. I think we're all in for a very big treat.
Save the neck for me, Clark.
Okay, Eddie.
Look at that.
Sorry.
Why are you crying? Huh?
I told you we put it in too early.
Oh, it's just a little dry. It's fine.
I told you.
Here's the heart.
His brother shows up like halfway through the movie, and his brother's wife cooks it.
Oh, his
and
brother's wife.
they show up in like an RV. They're clearly like kind of like country hillbilly type folk, I guess. But yeah, like they cook the turkey, and it's just like this dry mess. And I love just like how the characters react to all the stuff going wrong. Like when the turkey's dry, they say like, "Oh, you know, it's a little dry," and they're like crunching it, and like you can hear them crunching on it. And then there's a part, speaking of like, you know, the struggles of like a big family Christmas. There's a part where the wife, Chevy Chase's wife's character, she says a line. I have it written down. She says, "I don't know what to say except it's Christmas and we're all in misery." And then she lights a cigarette.
Nice.
It's perfect. It's like, yep, that sums up this whole movie. And just like how Chevy Chase being this like really overbearing father, Clark, I should say, being this overbearing father, like throws a wrench in all his Christmas plans. And I mean, this is a comedy, so it's just like a series of bits. So like, were there any scenes that stuck out like that to you?
So one scene that stuck out to me was when Clark was putting up his Christmas lights, about 1 million Christmas lights, I would say, onto his house, and when he was going to plug it in front of his whole family, it wouldn't turn on. When then his wife was like, "Oh, whatever, like I don't care. I'm gonna go inside and do whatever." So she switches on a switch in the house, and it turns on. She's doing whatever in that room. She turns it off, and every time she turns it on and off, Clark is like, "Oh, it's on." He calls his wife's name, and she's like, "Come out! You need to see this. You need to see this." And she's like, "Okay, I'll see it." Turns off the lights, and nothing happens.
Yeah, he spends so much time on those lights and just can't get them to work.
But I love the point when she like thinks about the light switch, and she's like, "Oh, I'll just turn it on," and the guy's like, "Oh, it was my idea. Like it was all me. Like it was 100% me." Yes.
I did it. Look,
yes.
I fixed it.
Yes.
No, he didn't fix it.
What was your favorite scene?
Oh man, that's hard. I really love. It's a scene at the very end. This is a little spoiler, but whatever. Chevy Chase's Clark, the character, is like waiting for this Christmas bonus check, and he really wants this Christmas bonus. He doesn't get the bonus check because his boss doesn't send bonus checks that year, and it pisses him off. So Clark's brother gets the idea of, oh hey, let's kidnap his boss and bring him here and ask him why he didn't do that. So they kidnap his boss.
Yes,
Clark gets fired, and then it's like a hostage situation. On Christmas, it's Christmas Eve. It's a hostage situation in the house, and a SWAT team storms the house, and it's just like the most like. It's like so, like, it's so chaotic.
I have never been treated like this in my life.
I'm sorry, this is our family's first kidnapping.
But like it also, the scene ends with like the boss kind of calling off the cops because he realizes like him not giving the bonus checks kind of impacted this family in a negative way, and he kind of learns like, he kind of has, the boss has a similar arc to Scrooge in that he learns like not to be a cheapskate, and that there's kind of like families and human beings connected to, you know, the job he's overlooking.
Yeah, or they depend on the one check
exactly.
to get through life. Even though he wants to have a pool, but I mean, like some families actually depend on having that one check that can get them through the season. Yeah,
and that's a big part of it. It's a family story, like a lot of these Christmas movies. And it had like, for like a slapstick comedy, it has like a surprising amount of heart. Like there's a definite, thing going on with Clark's character. I mentioned like him being a little egotistical about being like the perfect dad or whatever. And he kind of learns like that it's okay that it was a mess because it was a mess with his family, and that's okay because that's what it's about. Like, you know, spending time with your loved ones, which, you know, is a Christmas cliche, but I'm sure this movie had something to do with creating that cliche because like it does it really well, and like this movie does have a lot of heart in terms of like the family aspect of the Christmas season and why that's so important.
That's all I would say about it is seeing it with your family. Whenever I watch it with my family during the season, we all laugh hysterically and we start crying, and my dad's like, you know, I want to do that one day.
It's great. I mean, I definitely recommend it. I love that, like, the second the extended family shows up, it immediately gets uncomfortable, and it's already bad right off the bat. Yes. It's such a great, just, like, depiction of, it's, like, a more realistic depiction of, like, just how messy family can be, especially around the holidays when you feel obligated to be around each other. But yeah, I really like it, and we both definitely recommend National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Speaking of overbearing fathers, we're going to talk about Jingle All the Way, which is a great Christmas movie about a father, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, trying desperately to get like the new hot toy for his kid and just competing with all these other parents who are also last minute Christmas shopping. And this is also a movie I have a lot of fond memories with. I watched this one a lot, and it's definitely the goofiest movie we're talking about here. It's a lot of slapstick. It's a lot of just like ridiculous, over the top, almost cartoonish action at times. But it also has, like a lot of these Christmas movies do, a sweet family angle, and it kind of has its heart in that, and like the Christmas season and spirit or whatever. So yeah, like, what do you think about Jingle All the Way?
It's a great movie. I love how try-hard he is to get this. The toy is a Turboman doll, or
the Turboman
doll, yeah. And he tries his absolute hardest, and it breaks my heart to see him go through this journey of trying to get this one doll for his little boy.
Yeah.
It's just the sweetest thing in the world.
And the setup for that is kind of like, he's like a busy dad. He has some job where he like doesn't see his family much, or like he keeps missing like his kids' ball games, like, you know, like the really basic like absent parent thing. And so like there's this it's almost like his reputation as a father is kind of like contingent on getting this Christmas right. So he's like super desperate, like he has to prove to his family, to his son and his wife, and to himself that like he's a good father, and the Turbo Man doll kind of comes to represent it. It's an action figure, not a doll, but that's what he calls it. Yeah.
Oh, right. It's an action figure.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a lot. There's, like I was saying, there's a lot of like crazy, like almost action sequences in this. We were talking about the ball pit, which is a good one.
Yeah, the ball pit is great when he has to get into a certain store, and you receive a raffle ball, I would call it, right?
Yeah.
And this bouncy ball, it bounces off into the mall, into this little ball pit where all these kids are playing around, and eventually he makes his way downstairs to this ball pit where the kids are, and the one kid almost swallows the ball, but it's in his mouth. And he's like holding his face like this and trying to get the ball out of this kid's mouth. And these women are like, "Why are you grabbing this little boy? This is weird."
Touch the child, please.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's really like he's trying so hard. He's like trying to convince this kid to just give him the ball. He's like, "Look, I'll give you this other.
I'll give you this red ball for that ball."
It's yeah. Yeah. There's so many scenes like that. There's a scene closer to the beginning before the raffle when he like a store opens up for the day and like a bunch of people like rampage in, and like he's just like trampling people trying to get the Turbo Man thing, and like just can't. And then he runs into another father, which is our other character on the poster here, whose name I forget, who's also trying to get the Turbo Man doll for his kid. So there's kind of like they start out as allies and they're helping each other, but the closer they get to their goal, they realize like, oh,
he's my enemy.
Yeah, only one of us can really get this thing.
Yes.
I
love how far he goes to dressing up as a Turbo Man doll in this Christmas parade.
Yeah, it's like the end of the movie. He's like wrong place, wrong time, and they think he is like the person who's supposed to be Turbo Man in the parade. So he's like on the float and he's like being Turbo Man, and it's cool. And then the other father ends up being like Turbo Man's arch enemy. And they like literally just throw down on the parade float.
Yes.
And it's like he's got like a jetpack and he's flying around. And they're on top of a building. There's this crazy action in this movie for like no reason.
Give me the down, kid. Victory is mine! The Wow! I got it! I got one! I finally got one! Jamie!
Thanks, Turbo Man. I knew you'd save me.
You can always count on me.
But yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff like that. There's also the whole like plot with the neighbor kind of like moving in on his wife type thing, because he's like an absent dad. He's not really around much, and the neighbor like is like this really big flirt with his wife, and she doesn't really seem to realize at first, but like by the end she just kind of like she's like, get out of here, you're weird, and like he reaffirms his relationship with his wife and all that. And also, speaking of like the parade scene at the end, like the best part about it is like he spends this whole movie like desperately trying to get this doll because he really needs it for his kid. And then, you know, his kid gets like swept up in the action of that parade sequence.
Right.
And his kid realizes like, oh my God, my dad is Turbo Man. That's so cool. And like that becomes the gift for him. And so the kid makes the decision to give the other dad the Turbo Man doll. And he does get arrested, the other dad, because he kidnapped a child and interrupted a parade and did a lot of crimes. He also blew up a police station. Anyway, so he gives the Turbo Man doll to the other dad, and it's really sweet. And like a lot of these movies, the heart is the family aspect of it.
Right.
So, that becomes the gift of Christmas is being with your family. And I think the dad either like quits his job or changes his job or makes some adjustment so he can be with the kid more.
Yes. Yeah. I remember a certain scene where, or not a certain scene, over the story, he does go as far as like being in the parade, but like he goes as far as where his wife kind of hates him after a little bit because he's acting so psychotic and trying to get this toy for his little boy for the Christmas season so that he has a perfect Christmas for his little boy.
Yeah.
But his wife was like, I don't want to even bother with you. I'm going to the parade by myself and with our little boy. That's it. You're not coming with us.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot. I really like how his character, like he's really trying to just like salvage his family, and he's really worried about like what's going to happen, and that is motivating all his things, and it's really clear. I mean, there's a lot going on with like a lot. There's stuff going on with the characters in this movie, which I appreciate. That gives it an edge above some other Christmas movies that wouldn't try as hard. I guess like this it's a little more earnest than you'd expect from the poster, and I really appreciate that, especially with Christmas movies. Those are the best movies to be earnest like that. I feel like I should explain the bomb thing. They really make use of like the Christmas season in the movie, and the other dad is a mail carrier, and he makes a joke about how like, people ship bombs all the time, and like the police are chasing him, and he like takes out a package, and he's like, you don't know what this is, this could be a bomb.
Thank you! Now put the guns down. Now! Put them down! Brother man, put your gun down. Everybody! You too, Barnaby Jones. All right, just stay there. And I'll know if you move, because I have the ear of a snake. Ciao, baby.
Oh, you shouldn't mess with that.
Relax, Sparky. I was on the bomb squad for 10 years.
I'm the man!
Gentlemen, you've been duped. This is nothing but a harmless Christmas package.
And they're like, no, it's not a bomb. And then it explodes, and it is a bomb.
Yeah.
No one dies. It's fine. It's like a Looney Tunes explosion, but it's like
you don't see it anyway either. Like it happens in the building,
It's
and then
like
Arnold like turns around. And he's like, that was really a bomb.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's part of a whole sequence where they're trying to win like a radio giveaway of the doll. Like they are just trying all these different ways of getting their hands on this action figure to just give as a gift. And then there's a sweet moment at the end where he breaks into the neighbor's house and he kind of gets a chance to steal it, and he doesn't. He's like, oh, okay, you're a good person still. Like, you're super desperate, you're trying to get this doll, but like you're not gonna ruin some other kid's Christmas just to make your kids better. So yeah, like there's like some really sweet elements to this movie, on top of all the crazy Arnold Schwarzenegger screaming, car chase action nonsense that happens.
Yes. Definitely an action-packed movie that I recommend. But it's definitely a good classic. Like all the movies we talked about earlier, from last episode. If we do that, from last episode until today, they're all classics. All of them from our Christmas special, they're all classics.
Yeah, these are it's such a great like selection of movies. I associate all these so strongly with the Christmas season. Like I didn't even have to watch these for this. Like I was gonna watch them anyway. So yeah. I'm really glad we did this theme. Thank you guys for watching the Bronx Box Office Holiday Special. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at Bronx Box Office TV Show, and we'll see you in the new year.